President Trump took his re-election campaign to Henderson, Nevada last night, just outside of Las Vegas. It was the first time supporters indoors since his Tulsa rally on June 20th, an event that health experts later blamed for a surge in local coronavirus cases. Much like the president's other recent campaign events, the crowd was packed in and few people wore masks. But this time, the supporters standing directly behind the president, whose faces would end up on television, they were mandated to wear face coverings for the rally.
Oh, wait a second. Hold on a second. Hold on. So you're saying the people behind Donald Trump were required to wear masks, but the people that were far away from Donald Trump weren't. That's fascinating.
Last night's event was in clear
I wonder why that is.
defiance.
Could that be because Donald Trump cares about Donald Trump and not you?
The event was in defiance of state regulations and also Trump's own doctors in terms of what they believe will keep you safe. In-person gatherings, indoors, outdoors, up to 50 people are the rules. Nevada Governor Steve Sisolak criticized the president on Twitter last night, saying Trump is, quote, taking reckless and selfish actions that are putting countless lives in danger here in Nevada. And Casey, actually, we saw this in Tulsa, where they squeezed everyone together in a sweaty room, 6,000 people. They wanted 22,000 to show up. Let's point out that he didn't get the crowd he wanted, so they squished everyone together, ripped the stickers off the chairs. They would sit next to each other. Herman Cain was there. He did die a few weeks later. We don't know where he got it, but just pointing out he was there, no mask. And everybody put themselves at risk. It's not me talking. It's not me and Joe saying this is one side, what we believe.
Doctors.
This is Donald Trump's doctors. And so then the question is, and we always have this question about the Republicans standing by this president. I mean, the moral inconsistency, maybe they can live with that on some levels. But his leadership is killing people. Like, what's the answer to that?
Well, Mika, I mean, I think you laid it out exactly right. And I don't think there is an answer. And you think about all of the people who are, have lost their livelihoods because they are following these state regulations, all of the sports teams, all of the concert venues, all of the people that work in those kinds of big environments, they're all at home because we all know that these kinds of events are dangerous. Every governor, every public health official who's looking at this is saying, don't do this right now. And a lot of Americans are also saying, well, I'm not going to put myself in that situation. But I think, one of the differences between this Tulsa rally that we had in June, where so few people actually showed up, and the crowd that we saw in Henderson, Nevada last night, it shows you that what the president has been saying to his supporters has really sunk in. And it's likely contributing to the fact that we're still struggling to get this pandemic under control, and that it potentially really jeopardizes all of us. I mean, all of these people who are in this crowd, and even those photos of the people that had to wear masks, I mean, half of them have it off their face or underneath their nose. They are clearly all deciding that this isn't actually real. They are believing what the president is saying to them. And this is why what the president said to Bob Woodward and what he said in public is particularly astonishing. I mean, let's set aside all of the real ramifications for so many Americans, for all of us who are stuck at home, who can't get our kids to school, can't find childcare, all of that. This is a president who has demonstrated time and time again he is focused on himself. And the question that I struggle with is, if he knew this at the time and he says to Bob Woodward, this is really dangerous, we're going to have to do something about it. And, Joe, you have been saying over and over again, we solved the medical crisis, we solved the economic crisis, maybe the president can get reelected. Why would he not tell everyone to wear a mask in March? It really, and I have had sources say this to me too. It just boggles the mind.
Well, and what really is so revealing is that he told Bob Woodward in February. He knew at the end of January how dangerous this was, how deadly this was. His own national security advisor said this was going to be the biggest crisis that he faced. And Matthew Pottinger, a guy who Trump knew was hooked in and keyed in and someone that he knew and liked, completely agreed and basically told Donald Trump it was going to be a nightmare. Donald Trump went out and held huge rallies in the coming weeks, including rallies in Michigan, where he said this is just 15 people. Soon it's going to be down to zero.
Texas, Arizona.
Continuing to say that he was going to have these rallies. It was no big deal. He even said at one rally, think about this, to my dear friends who still don't understand why everybody wouldn't vote for Donald Trump. Donald Trump called this a Democratic hoax, right? He called this a Democratic hoax. By the time he said this was the latest Democratic hoax, his national security advisor had said, Mr. President, this is going to be the greatest crisis of your presidency. His trade representative had written him a memo that said, Mr. President, 500,000 souls in America could die from this. The head of his Department of Health and Human Services had come to him and issued bleak warnings about this. He had already heard from Matthew Pottinger, again, a China hawk, somebody who had been on the phone with Hong Kong, had been on the phone with his contacts in China. And he said, is this going to be as bad as 2003? And the answer came back, no, you need to be thinking more like the Spanish flu of 1918.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.